Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back. My name is Sybil, and I am always ever so grateful for the time and energy you bring to this experience. I really do appreciate your energy. So do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as this helps get these messages to the collective. As always, use discernment. I'm not a licensed professional, so take only what resonates and always seek expert advice in medicinal, financial, and legal matters. So, taking a deep breath, I've already cleared this space, cleansed the cards, shuffled, pulled a couple, and it is in this moment where we allow the ego to soften. And so we just kind of inhale and exhale and let the energies of the day go as we enter a chamber of the heart, a chamber where we remember, where light and shadow come together, where the old self surrenders, right? And we remember who we are and rise in sovereignty. So, in this reading, I pulled here a couple of cards. One is the New Life Teacher Guides, right? And this one here is the Runner Guides. These are the helpers. This is number 55. And we have number 28. I don't know if you can see those at the top. So this really tells me that there are some who have gleaned wisdom in their experience, right? They've gained knowledge, a deeper level of understanding, and they have put that to work in their own lives and brought it into their own experience in a way that it has created a sort of new wisdom, right? It's like birthing a new child. This wisdom, this passion, this desire, this creativity is all being stored up here under the solar plexus. And she's radiating light, right, in every direction. She knows what she's holding is of deep value, right? And there is a strong desire to bring that into this earthly realm, right? To share that with others, to help others. And we have the runner guides coming in to say, we are here to assist you in the birth of this new life, of this new creation. The thing is before we can really bring these new ideas, these new passions and desires into creation, there are some things we must first let go of. You know, to reach something greater, we first have to let go of what is in our hands. And I feel like some may be feeling the difficulties of kind of breaking through that glass ceiling, right? Or of letting go of some of those things, those old beliefs or habits or patterns or fears, right? That are holding them back from stepping forward. And we have guidance and assistance to help us in every possible way, right? And they're really wanting us to know that we are loved and we are held and we are supported. Um, and it's like our guides are wanting us to reach out, right? To call on them, to not be afraid to ask for assistance. Um, and I'm just looking at the bottom of that deck actually, and I have healer guides here, right after a time of loss or a period of grief. Um, this reminds me of the codes that are coming in, those light codes, that pure light that is coming into the center of Mother Earth. Um, God, I can't remember what I named it. I just posted it. Um, but they're really coming in to restore and cleanse and kind of purge the old energies and restore the original divine blueprint, right? As we birth in these new creations, we are birthing that new life. We are birthing that new earth. And so there is a lot that is falling away internally for us personally. And then as we look outwardly, globally, right? So this is kind of falling in line with that message. Let's do a declare and decree and see what spirit wants to bring forward today for energies that are being, purified, removed, cleansed, purged, that sort of thing. We'll get one here. Oh, okay. All contractual agreements made by myself and my ancestors that do not serve the highest good of my lineage are now destroyed in spirit and in flesh. And let's see what those contracts might have been about. Okay, we will see here. There's quite a bit. So a lot of it is about self-doubt and unhealthy relationships, fear of transparency, vulnerability. Just going to put this here. You guys can try to screenshot that. They're not the easiest things to read, but a lot of times you can write that down, light a candle, burn it, set your intention. This has a lot to do with the crown chakra also, and the light that I feel we are receiving that is coming in. I'll go ahead and repeat it. It says all contracts and agreements made by myself and my ancestors that do not serve the highest good of my lineage are destroyed in spirit and in flesh. And the way that we do this, we can say light a candle and write it down on a piece of paper and burn it and then go about your day, right? It's just done. Well, if it were only that easy, right? We wouldn't need our helper guides. And what I'm getting from the middle of the deck is that a lot of it has to do with letting go of these emotional and it's sexual, physical, emotional, and spiritual cord attachments to all past partners, both consensual and non-consensual, as well as the Jezebel spirit attached to those encounters will be are destroyed in spirit and in flesh. And this really reaches into those self-sabotaging patterns and behaviors and feeling of defeat and powerlessness, as well as self-doubt and disbelief in her potential. You know, sometimes we create these sort of attachments or contracts and cords with unhealthy relationships and friendships, even our associations, you know, through business, through, you know, work, through our beliefs around healing and medicine. And it really touches to the core of this fear of being transparent and vulnerable and allowing our authenticity to really come out and shine. So this can reach as far back as childhood, you know, childhood traumas, unhealthy wounds can be created from those things, and we carry them through our lives. And a lot of times they kind of lay dormant. We don't really see them or feel them until we come to this place where we are emboldened and inspired and impassioned to bring forth this new light. And spirit is coming in and saying, we know you're having to let go of some very strong connections, right? Bonds that maybe you have had from childhood, you know, with people who perhaps were very jealous, very envious, very bitter about the purity and the innocence that you held within yourself. And these energies of bitterness and envy and jealousy and greed and hunger for power could have been very much like that Jezebel spirit that was the underlying tow, right? It's like it was the underlying current and tow around you being us, not just you. I mean, this applies to me as much. But it really was like this underlying energy around us trying to become that authentic, transparent being of light who is not ashamed and not afraid to step out and share the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding that we have gained through this healing process, through having lost and loved and let go. And that's a very strong energy even today. It's like this earth is just going through this huge purging, right? It's going through a huge cleansing, and that includes Mother Earth, her plants, her trees, her furred and feathered friends, her fish, the water, and humanity itself. And so it really brings an impact to every living thing, right? And we feel that very deeply in our personal lives. We are that heartbeat, we are that pulse, right? We are her children, and we are that divine creation. And so it is going to reach our core. It is really going to reach into the root of the matter as to what holds us back from that rising. And we always have ancestors and guiding spirits, guardian and archangels. We have ascended masters, divine beings of the highest white light. We have source, creator, the most high God, that we can call on, that we can draw that truth and that wisdom and that love down in through the crown and radiate that throughout our own personal field, through our heart, our home, our lives, our personal relationships with one another. And the way that we do that is by really recognizing these old energies, right? Where we have built beliefs and patterns and addictions and self-sabotaging habits around success, right? Around being seen, around being heard. So I'm going to get to it and see what advice Spirit has for us today. Let's see. I'm going to pull my little cards here. Okay. What is wisdom if not shared? I mean, really, what is wisdom if not shared? So, yeah, there's some wisdom there. There has been a very deep period of learning, right? Of really understanding the lessons that we've had to go through, how the people around us have brought about experiences that have taught us. It's really finding that place within us that is so loving and so kind and so generous and compassionate and forgiving that we can see the purpose even in those people who may have perpetrated crimes against us. It kind of reminds me of a conversation that I was just having with someone. And I mentioned, in my life, especially in my youth, things were very dark. A lot of times I don't go into what that looked like because it can be very triggering to some. It can be actually quite unbelievable to others, to many. But it's not the details, right? It's the fact that we've been to this place where we have really experienced what we perceive as evil, right? That we perceive as injustices against humanity, right? Against children, that sort of thing. And I can look back and I can say, as difficult and as life-threatening of a time that was for me, right? As terrifying as it was at times, I can see even how the perpetrator of those crimes, maybe his intent was to defeat me or to destroy me, right? But it taught me. It taught me so much. It taught me so much about how the dark moves, right? It taught me how to navigate that dark, how to recognize it, how to transmute it, how to release it, let it go as light, and how not to hold judgment and condemnation and resentment in my heart for it, so that I could find that loving place within myself that is the ascended heart that connects us to all things. And a lot of people can find it difficult to believe that someone can come out of such a dark place and still maintain some semblance of sanity, right? So it's those of us who really face the shadow, and not just the shadow, but we go into the depths beyond the shadow. And we look at those things which so many others refuse to look at. And we build up a lifetime of this wisdom, right? A wisdom that just continues to grow. And it's like if we do not release it, if we do not share it, then more cannot come in. So we can become stagnant, we can feel stuck, we can fall back into the very insecurities that we once overcame, right? And we have to remember that, wait a minute, I have faced darker than this. This is that shadow that is still clinging to the bottom of my feet like dust. And it is to shake that dust from our feet and to remember that we have already conquered what seemed like certain death at times, whether it be certain death to our ego, to our finances, our family, our friends, our homes, our health, right? It is to remember that as we step forward to release this light that is within us into the world, that we are that light, right? That there is no fear of being seen, of being heard, that we release those self-sabotaging behaviors of worry and self-doubt, right? So let's see what some of this is here. Getting a lot of root chakra. Yeah. It's like fear of, theft, right? Fear, yeah, like fear of having that light stolen, fear of it being misused, sacrificed, I can become a fear of success, of power, because there can be beliefs that to be successful, to be in a place of power means that it's like we have this view that it's ego driven, right? That you might have to do dark things for them, right? Because we see a lot of that being purged now, right? Letting go of that need for self-sacrifice, right? To know that this is not a time of sacrifice, that in giving that light to the world, right? That knowledge, that assistance, whatever it is that you have building up inside of you, that inspiration, that creativity, that new idea, that this is not a time of sacrifice, right? That this is a time of birthing new life, and that what you hold within you is going to assist in that. And it may even bring up feelings of being incapable, right? Can I actually do this? Do I have what it takes to enter this? It's like a huge commitment. It's like that moment before you step forward, you recognize the commitment that is being made, right? And you recognize that the ways that making that commitment is going to change your life, right? You may not eat and drink the same things. You may not be around the same people or develop the same kinds of relationships. You know by now what it is to care for yourself. And do I have the capacity to maintain that self-care, to maintain my own being and maintain what is being brought forward at the same time? This card says loving, kind, safe home, high vibes, strong faith, protected by the Most High. And on the back of it, there's a note that says traveling abroad, crossing water. So, that could be physically traveling abroad, physically crossing water. But for me, it's crossing that ocean, right? That ocean within us. It's traversing those seas, right? They weren't always still waters. There were times when they threatened to capsize our boat, right? There are times where it does capsize our boat and we find ourselves sinking. And perhaps that is the loss that has been felt. And Spirit is coming in and saying, you are loving, kind, safe, home, high vibes, strong faith, protected. You are protected. And you are definitely loved. We have our spirit guides over there saying, call on us, Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. I forgot to set my do not disturb. I'm sorry about that. Let me just get that now. Okay. All right. So let me just pull another little message here. Okay. Yeah, this is boy, the guides really bring it in. There are so many out there who boast, right? They boast about practicing their good deeds just to be seen by others, right? And doing that brings no real reward. Only the insecure need to showcase often complain or point out all the hard work they did and the self-sacrifices they've made. They typically proclaim very high standards as a way to prove they are better than and are striving for superiority, control, and can display a lack of compassion with no sincere care for others or the desire to help. Their only desire is to really be seen. And we're seeing a lot of that being purged. And I know, back in the day, you could consider it being a very competitive world, right? And what Spirit has been showing me is that there really is no competition for this. There's no competition. Let the boasters boast, right? Let the self-sacrificers sacrifice. Let the complainers complain. Because that is the fire in them that is going to burn down that false character, right? Be your authentic self. You are coming out of a place where you can help people who have let go of that facade. Because a lot of these in the readings that I do lately are falling from grace. I say a lot of those are our healer guides. I'm talking about this little card here. they're falling, they're falling from grace, right? And so what you see is a desperate attempt to hold on to that place of power and control, because the light that is stepping forward is a healing light. And when it touches even their field, they are going to feel the burn. So it's like, have no concern about those who are boasting, right? Remain humble. Remain humble. You know, they may even be positioned in places where, you know, that falling under the helpers, you know, our runner guides, our helper guides, that come in and help us complete those daily tasks, right? They may be positioned in places and positions that say, I am your guide, right? I am your guru. I will show you the way. Look at all I have done, right? Look at all I have sacrificed. Nobody can do it better than me. Let me help, you know? Look at all I have get, like, just that it's a very oh, ego driven energy. They're the ones that will tear you down to help you, right? This does not tear down, right? What has already been torn down. It builds, it heals, right? It is loving, it is kind, it is graceful, it is wise. And it's the wisdom of the heart, right? So it's like spirit coming in and saying that we may be meeting some of those who have not yet released a lot of those childhood traumas, right? And it's in, how do you say, it's in releasing that self doubt in ourself. It's in releasing those agreements that we have made and that our ancestors have made, right? They're old agreements, they're old ways of being and acting and speaking and living and doing and helping others, right? So let's see here. What is wisdom if not shared? Let's see what we get here. They always have to throw them on the floor. Okay, so we have here the Two of Swords, you know, being at a difficult place, like trying to make a decision, though it is in the reverse. Now, on this card, it says being at a stalemate, right? A stalemate in some sort of relationship, of really not knowing which way to go. feeling like the world is upside down. It's like knowing the truth and not knowing how to apply that truth in a way that is not going to rock our foundations. It's like trying to hold on to those relationships and those contracts, hoping that we can bring them forward because we have developed an attachment, an emotional attachment to them. And so it is bringing through this energy of loss, right? I don't want to lose my family and my friends and everything I know because I step out and and authentically step out with what I'm holding within. It's that fear of rejection, right? It's that fear of loss. Can we overcome whatever attachments to those old traumas that bring about shame? That bring about that fear of being seen. This is someone that could have believed that they would never reach a point of success or reach a point to where they could actually help others. Um, you know, it's overcoming the fear of those endings. It's overcoming the fear of death and betrayal. Really, it's overcoming the fear of defeat. We have here a painful ending to a relationship or situation that feels devastating, but there is hope for renewal. You know, the Ace of Swords is a very powerful energy. It is one of breakthrough, it is one of truth, triumph, justice, true wisdom. And not everyone handles that Ace of Sword with care, right? With kindness, with compassion. Some can take that truth and twist it and bend it and distort it. Some can take that Ace of Swords and use it as a weapon, right? This is all 10 aces. With someone laying on the shore, right? On the edge of that ocean. It's like having come out of the depths of the ocean with 10 swords in your back and now having to heal from all the truths and the realizations that you discovered beneath those waters. But there really is hope. You see a new day dawns on the horizon. And we have generosity. This is the Six of Pentacles. It's almost like that sacrifice energy where we have sacrificed so much of ourselves out of generosity of spirit, right? This is Pentacles. We may have given so much of our time, our physical abilities, right? Our mental abilities, even emotional. I mean, this is really giving all of oneself to these contracts, to these agreements and these relationships to a point that it has caused a ending, right? A complete ending, like we are dead, done, over it. Now we must heal from the loss, right? Now we must allow those tears to cleanse us and to bring us into that brighter day. It, it's like people who have been taken advantage of because they are generous, because they are kind with their time, with their energy, with their resources, their finances, right? To an extent that it's really caused a betrayal and a distrust, right? How can I move forward when I know that this is possible? Because you have been there and done that, and you have gained wisdom from it. And you are not the same person you used to be. And while that may be very difficult for some to accept, right? It is a reality for you. It's coming forward with that wisdom that you hold within you, that passion, that desire for life, for that creative energy, right? The vitality within you, and sharing that in places where there are people who are calling from their soul for assistance, for help, that will appreciate the light that is within you, right? Back to a place where there are healthy boundaries, right? Where we know who we are. We can recognize the thief in the night. We can recognize the bully behind the smile. We can recognize that egotistical place that says, I am better than thou, right? I am higher than thou, right? Mm, yeah, it's walking away. It's walking away from that energy. It's walking away from a time when we sacrifice ourselves to a point of self sabotage and defeat, and we walk away from it all, unafraid, unafraid, because we know the light that we hold within us. And as we walk away, we are walking into creation. We are walking into the divine feminine energy that brings an abundance of creativity, fertility, and prosperity. This is the Empress. And she's falling under the helper guides. She's falling under that energy that typically proclaims high standards as a way to prove they are better than, and are striving for superiority and control, with a lack of compassion, with no sincere care for others, and only a desire to be seen. This new Empress, this new creation is coming and falling under that energy, and it's going to create friction within that energy's field, right? It's going to be felt and it's going to be seen. This is really someone who does have very high value, though they are so humble that, you know, many people who are in their ego may not recognize that value, and that's okay. That just means it's not, you know, their time. Your energy is not their energy. You're releasing that energy to move on, and replacing an energy that is just ego driven. As you bring in the birth of this new creation, the Empress is fertile. This may even be someone, it may be a signal of a physical pregnancy, right? But it is someone who has a nature of abundance because they're abundant within, right? They feel the abundance of the light and the joy within them. They have an abundance of peace and prosperity, right? They hold that within their womb with wisdom. They know how to give birth. They know how to go through the pains of trauma, right? Of betrayal, of self-sacrifice. Let's see what else we have coming here. One more. Those betrayals probably caused a withdrawal, right? A withdrawal from the superficial connections that no longer fulfill, and discerning who really belongs in your life as the Empress, because now we're not in that place of trauma. We're not in that place of betrayal, of self-sacrifice anymore. And so we're really looking at the superficiality of some of the relationships that are remaining and deciding to set boundaries in and with those relationships. This is someone who is looking for authenticity, right? For transparency, because they hold that within themselves. Yeah. It's transitioning from a state of disempowerment to a state of empowerment, from a state of lack to a state of abundance and creation. And before giving birth, it's like, who do you want around in the birthing room, right? Who do you want there? That's a sacred moment, right? You don't just invite every, you know, Tom, Dick, and Mary Jane into the birthing room. So it's really looking at those people that we have surrounded ourselves with, or that are still, it's like our inner circle even, right? Do I really want that inner circle circling my creation, what I'm about to bring in to this world, right? Because what you have mastered. What you have within you have mastered that. You have come to a place of self-mastery, and you're really looking at the value that you hold and the value of those around you and deciding whether or not it's worth it, right? Whether or not it's worth bringing those people, places, and things back from the past. It's learning from places where we have been deceived, where there have been actions that have been taken against us in silence and in the dark. But it was that realization that has brought about this new idea, right? It's like a revelatory moment where we grew up, right? It's like we awakened to the choices that we had made and the relationships that we had made, and even the relationships that our ancestors made, which is a lot of times our family, right? Our family tree. Those that have been with us for, decades. That can be a hard thing to release, right? Because we have found ourselves in a position where we've forgiven so many times, right? That we ask ourselves, is there ever going to be a time where I don't have to forgive you, forgive myself? Like recognizing the looping patterns that we've been stuck in. But I feel like this is really coming forward and birthing that new creation, and that these are just the dust on the feet, right? They're the lingering shadows that are being brought forward, that there is a promise of transformation, and being spiritually led by spirit, because here we have an invitation. We have the Knight of Cups. This is like a promise of true love, a promise of emotional fulfillment. It's coming forward. This is someone who handles those cups with care. He's on a horse. He's a knight. He's dressed in armor, right? He's got a cup full here, and he's not spilling any of it. He's handling it with care and compassion, kindness, right? High vibes, has a very strong faith, knows he is protected. He wears the armor of the Most High, and he's coming forward and he's promising transformation. This is that death and rebirth energy. It's where we release those old identities and beliefs and relationships, habits and cycles, right? Where we come forward and say, I am open to transforming. I am open to receiving that divine light, and letting go of and being vulnerable and open to receive can be a difficult thing, especially when we're looking at relationships. But this is bringing in that this is bringing in a transformation that will be seen. It will be recognized. It is a recognizable transformation. Let's see if I can get these without knocking everything over, right? And it's being guided forward to calmer waters, right? To come out of that, may be that moving in silence, right? Withdrawing your energy from those people, places, and things that were very much egotistical, that were very much superficial and based on control and superiority, right? Those people and relationships that lack the compassion that brings in wisdom and healing. It's letting those go, and it's being moved silently to a place of still waters, right? And there is still hope for that new day. It's like not letting people know that this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm bringing forward, because what I hold in me is so sacred that I have learned from my past that there are those who wish or would use that for their own self gain. And it's bringing in an energy of healing and hope and renewal. It's coming out of that period of adversity into a future that is bright. So it is walking away from that self-sacrificial energy into a brighter day, into a place of healing and rejuvenation, a place of transformation. That's miracle energy. These are the energies that people say, you cannot do that. You will not survive. You will not make it. You don't have enough. You aren't enough, or you're too damaged, or you're too broken. Well, this person is coming in and they don't look very broken to me. Actually, very quickly building up momentum and coming in very enterprising. This is a master of material success who makes wise investments and turns plans into profit. This is becoming that King of Pentacles, the one who is stable, the one who is coming out of a period of lack into a period of prosperity, of abundance. This is building a solid foundation for generations to come. This is the long haul. It is the long road, and it may have been a long, dark road just to come to this place where we recognize that some of the strongest energies that have held us back are the very people that we have trusted with our heart, with that energy that we hold within us, and that they have used that to their benefit, right? Only so that they could be in power, so that they could be in control, so that they could be seen by others, right? And this person is saying, it's dead, it's done, it's over. I'm moving forward. I am transforming my life. And this is a transformation that is going to be seen and recognized by everyone. And not only are they going to see and recognize the transformation that has occurred within you, but they're going to see and recognize the spiritual guidance that is within you. The spirit that has guided you through these times is very much present in guiding you into this new place out of lack and poverty, into a place where you are building legacies, right? Abundance and prosperity. It's coming out of a place of being under the feet of rulers and stepping into leadership yourself and bringing emotional fulfillment, not just to you, not just to your home, right? But to others. This is enough that it will fulfill, right? Generations. This is home, family, friendships, right? This is emotional fulfillment. This is physical, tangible evidence of that emotional fulfillment, of that strong foundation, of the leader that is within you, and you will reach this milestone. You will reach that. It brings stability to our home and our relationships. This is a huge milestone that is being walked into. It's just having to let go of that grief, right? Having to let go of that sorrow, of that fear that says, I can't do this, I'm not enough, right? That my wounds, my scars still show. Let them see, because those scars are the victory to the battles. They are you wouldn't have a scar if you hadn't survived. And there are some that are really worried and that are being overburdened by this new opportunity. You're excited over here. This is someone who can feel the passion and the desire building up into them to the point that they're feeling the excitement and they want to bring it forward. Your guides are saying, bring it forward. Let the distortion be disturbed, right? Clear out. By taking these steps, you've come so far and you've come so close. And that by taking these steps and allowing spirit to guide you and releasing all that has not served you, all that has betrayed you, all that has tried to oppress and control you, by letting that go and taking these steps into that new life in and letting people see the transformed you and the value that you have always been. It is going to clear out all of these blockages to your success. It's going to clear it out of your lineage, out of your ancestors from past lifetimes, right? It's going to clear out all those sexual, physical, emotional, and spiritual cord attachments to past sexual partners, friends, family, consensual and non-consensual, right? It's going to decimate the spirit of Jezebel that has taken root in some way, shape, or form in your life. And it's going to decimate all that self-doubt and those self-sabotaging behavior patterns and feelings of defeat and powerlessness, all that self-doubt and disbelief in your potential and who you are and what you have and if it will sustain you or not. All those unhealthy relationships and friendships and associations that are cleared from your energy are going to free, right? Are going to free your life of any of that from rising above. Like it literally clears it just by standing on the intention that this is my intent, that these things are now cleared from my lineage, right? They are destroyed in spirit and in flesh. And that, yeah, I may have to let go of a lot, right? But you've already met death. Where did I bury it? You've already met death. Way down here on the bottom. That which is within you is so much stronger than that that is without, right? That is around you. There truly is nothing to fear but fear itself. And coming forward, this is also going to help you remember even more of who you are and the power and the gifts and the purity and the wholeness that is within you. You will be stepping into that place, that divine place that is authentic, that can be transparent without the fear of defeat and betrayal. That light is so strong that it is going to light you up in such a way that you remember even more of who you truly are and come into your gifts. You begin to step into the fullness of your gifts, right? And at that point, you become those helper guides. You, as this actually, this is your teacher. This is your teacher guide. These are your runner guides. These are the guides, your ancestors and spirits, and guiding spirit, your guardian angels. That if you need something, right? If you need help knocking on a door and reaching out to someone, or help budgeting, if you need help um planning, right? And bringing structure, if you need help making connections so that you can have the team and support that you need to bring about this legacy, right? This this strong foundation, your guides are there, right? You need an accountant, ask for an accountant, ask them to bring you and draw you to that accountant. If you need an attorney, ask them, I need to know that what I do, that I'm on, the right side of justice. They're going to help bring those relationships and those partnerships to you. If you need, say, hey, I need a bunch of honeybee boxes. I don't even know where to find them. I don't know. Lead me to the place where I'm going to be able to find, hives for my honeybees, right? They're going to help you find that which you need. All you have to do is ask. And at the same time, this brings you in as a teacher and as a guide yourself to those who have lost, right? To those who have been betrayed, to those who are also having to go through this transition from a place of scarcity and lack to a place of abundance and prosperity, knowing that it is a journey, and that as difficult as it may seem at times and as challenging as it may seem as time, you are proof that it can be done. I mean, I really don't know how to say any more about that. Um, so I'm going to ask for one final message here, just one affirmation where we can let this reading close. So we have here the card of law of attraction. The universe responds to my thoughts and vibrations, aligning me with all that I seek. You can write that down. You can make that an affirmation. Um, it says, the universe responds to my thoughts and vibrations, aligning me with all that I seek. So, positive thoughts, high vibes. Remember, keeping it positive. Embrace yourself. Allow yourself to build yourself up. That's not being in the ego. You're not doing it so that you can be seen. You're building up that power within you so that you can birth that new creation, so that that light can draw in that abundance and relationships, healthy relationships, right? Finances, these are your relationships with everything. You've got 10 cups, each one representing a relationship to some pentacle on this board, right? So building them up, making them strong, keeping them strong, walking in that light, attracting that abundance, being mindful of our thoughts and our words. because under that was the clear voice. My voice is strong, my words flow effortlessly, and my message is always understood. That can be a very good affirmation for this time, really, especially with Mercury and retrograde. Remember not to take these miscommunications personally, that we will come through this, and that right now it's just a matter of you trusting in the divine, trusting in the wisdom and the knowledge that you have within yourself, staying positive, knowing that you are attracting in that heart's desire, and that it is really going to be seen and recognized and position you in a place where you can help lead and guide others to healing. So I really want to thank each one of you again for sitting through these with me as long as you have. I now return, right? I return your energy to you, pure and whole, as I receive my energy back, pure and whole, allowing only that which is light to remain. And so it is. And may you go in love and gratitude and peace.